Hi, my love. So it's Jasmine here from the Journey of J. Louise, and today I wanted to come on here and talk about being a Scorpio moon. So, being a Scorpio moon is very intense. You feel a lot in love, you just are very cautious, very skeptical. Um, you can come off as very icy. Um, it's not natural for us to just deep dive into our feelings. It's just intense, like with love for me, it always seems to be a battle or a game of cat and mouse almost in a sense, where it's like when I have love, um, I'm always over analyzing, which is also the Aquarius in me. But it's like it's it's almost uncomfortable in a way because of the emotional aspect of having to be open with someone in that way, and them expecting to for me to be open in that way. Because with us, it's like we're very cautious in love, very very cautious in love, because we feel so deeply. It's like we I'm sorry, I got something in the oven, and the preheat just went off, and that just threw me for a second. But yeah, we just like when we're in love or in relationship situations, it takes time for us because we have to know, can I trust you? That's our number one thing. Can I trust you? Can I be vulnerable with you? Can you handle me at my worst? Can you handle the deepest, darkest parts of us? Because it is definitely there. And if I feel like you can't handle that part of me, I will not give it to you. Like with me, I know I am an all or nothing type of person, and this is something that I've been working on since I've discovered like love in a romantic sense. It's like I never understood why for me I felt so much, or why I was so scared to be in a relationship, like even from like middle school, it was like, to me it was something serious to be someone's girlfriend, like it's never been like a fly or on the whim type of thing where, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend. Like I have been in a relationship where it was kind of like, at the time he was saying all the right things and all of this, but even then I was inclined to think that he could handle my emotions, because he would give me all of the darkest parts of himself, and I thought he could handle that about me, but he didn't take the time to listen and understand that part of me. And that's where we completely shut down. I completely shut down, and I know I will never give him my heart again, no matter what. So that's what I mean by all or nothing. If we feel like you can't hold our heart, we will go cold. We will go cold. And it's like, I feel like our love is, we're so loyal, we're so passionate. Like if we love you, we love you whole. We love all of you, and sometimes it can be it can be a con to the situation, because I feel like, because we're so accepting of the dark side of things and accepting of the dark side of like life and emotions, sometimes we don't see the red flags for what they are. Like I'll think, okay, well, you're telling me this so we can work through it together, versus this person saying what it is and just being okay with being this dark person, or doing a certain thing that will hurt you. But you're thinking, okay, you can accept, like, like you want to accept it about them, but you have to learn that, not you can't take on every dark thing about a person. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn where your boundaries are. You have to know, like, okay, you're comfortable with doing this, but that in the end is going to hurt me. So you got to learn how to walk away. Letting go is one of the hardest things for me, because like I said, it's like it's a sea of emotion, and I think I hold on just so I don't have to go through that. Sometimes, because like the analogy I use to explain it is, it's like having a bottle of water and putting it in the freezer, and then taking out of the freezer and like unscrewing the top, and it's overflowing. And because as water as it freezes, it expands. So it's like that. It's like, because like, as a Scorpio moon in its detriment, like I said, the moon is your emotions, but being that it's in its fall, we try to avoid those emotions. We try to, like, shut that part of us out, and it can become like debilitating, because like it's still there, like I said, like once all that water thaws out, it's gonna come raining down. And I take heartbreak and things like that so bad, and I never understood, like I literally, like, it's like all these emotions that like I didn't feel throughout the relationship, or not necessarily didn't feel, but I feel like sometimes I never like truly feel the weight of it, because I don't pay attention to it. It's like a part of me that I just don't really want to tap into, and that's something that I'm learning, that so that it's not so heavy at the end of a relationship, is to learn how to feel and tap into that energy, to that emotion while I'm feeling it, like learning to process my emotions as I'm having them, instead of waiting until it's like I'm forced to do it, like until there's nowhere else to run, like I can't be ice anymore. I have to let the light in. I have to let the heat in and release that energy, release that blockage. Because essentially that's what it is, It's like being a Scorpio moon, you have to learn to feel. You do. You have to learn to feel. And when I say feel, I mean all your emotions, not just anger and rage, because that Scorpio, that vengefulness will definitely kick in. And I feel like, in those moments, you have to learn how to breathe it out. When I say feel, I don't mean react. I mean feel. Allow the emotions to go through your body. If you have to cry, if you have to be angry within yourself, don't be impulsive. Don't be vengeful. I know how that feels, Sometimes we can get to a point where it's like, I feel this way. I feel so deeply for a person who's not reciprocating. It's like, how do you not understand how I'm feeling? And you get angry, you get upset, and you're just like, I want you to feel me in the worst possible way. Like, you need to feel how I'm feeling, and it comes off wrong. I feel like sometimes you might not even mean for it to be like that, but I think we get in a state where it's like, you need to know how much I feel, because you know you're not gonna just leave me feeling like this, thinking that it's something that it's not. Like, it's intense. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but like, I just know I've definitely been in situations where I just couldn't understand how a person didn't know how much I felt. And like I said, it's because we can also come off as cold. We can come off as icy, and then add on top of that, being an Aquarius, like me being an Aquarius sun with a lot of Aquarius planetary bodies in my chart, as well as Capricorn, it just, it's, it distracts from, like it doesn't allow for me to give people those emotions, to give them that vulnerability, although I feel it, like, and it can be so heavy, like, I don't know, like I said about I feel like as a Scorpio moon, sometimes you can tend to run away from those things, and then it becomes an obsession in a way. Like, like I feel like this is another Scorpio trait. I feel like sometimes we can become set on a thing. Once we have decided that you are our object of desire, we can get stuck on that person. And that's where I said before, it's like you forget about all the ways that that person may be detrimental to you, and it becomes unhealthy. So you have to be aware of yourself, aware of the energy that you're allowing in, and just be more present. Be more present. Don't run away from anything you're feeling. If you have an intuition about something, listen to it. Don't, because your intuition says a lot. That's a God-given gift. That's a divine gift, and I feel like we're more intuitive. I feel like as a Scorpio moon, as a water moon, even though we're in our detriment, we're still water. And you know, water is always like lunar. It's always connected to being intuitive, being emotional, and things like that. So you know, like trust the feeling that you get, but don't allow yourself to become so obsessed with something, or to think like I can love them past their darkness. You know, like I know that's what we want. We want someone who can love us past our darkness. But you gotta realize, even in your relationships, someone can see and listen to the darkness within you. But if they choose not to stay, they're gonna go. You know, they're still gonna leave, because at the end of the day, you have to be selfish. You have to be selfish. You know, you have to know how much you can take. You know, you have to know what's good for you. You have to know what makes you happy, you know, what makes you joyful. Don't ever settle because you feel like you can love a person past, you know, whatever they're dealing with, or love them into loving themselves more, or anything like that. You always have to be your number one priority. um you know, I don't know, I feel like I don't know where that was coming from, but I guess that's a Scorpio moon message that I have. I felt really strongly about that. But yeah, I just know that it can be very intense. I know that we feel so much. And another thing I want to say is to journal. Write down how you feel. You know, like that's what's got me through so much in my life, whether it be relationships, whether it be family, whether it be career stuff, you know, like a lot of things. Like write down how you're feeling, because not only does it help in that moment, but you're able to see like what's really bothering me. Because sometimes, like, you know, even when I used to write poetry and things like that, like sometimes you get to the nitty gritty of why you're even feeling it, but you consciously, when you're just like bouncing thoughts around, it doesn't stick. But like when you're like actually, you know, keeping a train of thought going on how you feel and what's really leading up to it, and what brought this on, you get to really see and analyze yourself, and then it causes you to be aware of those things, so that when you move throughout life, you think to yourself, this is a trigger for me. You know, I feel this way because of that. And you start to change the way you move. You change the way you do things. Like, you know, I noticed that I have a lot of a negative self-talk. Like I can't, I'm not able to. And when I say things like that, I switch it real quick, because it's like, no, like, you know what I'm saying, you have to speak more positively about yourself. And also, like I said before, about acting impulsively, I've learned that I've learned so much about like how much I feel, and how I know that sometimes I could feel vengeful, and when I feel something so strongly, I just be wanting to do something just to get it out. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be I want to cut my hair, I want to change the color of my hair, even though I said like I'm not gonna cut it anymore, I'm not gonna do this or that, I go and do the exact opposite, just because in the moment I needed to feel different. I needed to feel something other than what I was feeling, because it was intense, it was too much. And I'm learning to sometimes I just need to ride around, you know, with the windows down, with the air blasting, with music playing, you know, walk around the neighborhood, and or talk to a friend. Sometimes you just need something that gives you a breath of fresh air, you know, to just whisk it away, even if it's for a moment. You know, like don't react so impulsively, because you know it just, as time goes on, it's not a good look. You know, I've learned that it's not a good look. I've gotten into fights and things like that because of letting my emotions build up, and then once I open that top after pulling it out the freezer, it's spilling over, and it's like I need it to go somewhere, and I want this person to know this is what's been happening inside of me. And it's like you can't force that on someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I say learn to feel those emotions while you have them. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of feeling, you know, and talk it out. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's the right person, they'll listen, you know? And I'm learning that. Like I feel like I used to be so afraid of my emotions and things like that, but you know, as I'm getting older, it's like that's a beautiful part of us, you know, the fact that we feel so deeply. You know, everybody's not gonna understand that, but it's beautiful. It really is. And we are able to sense things. We sense energy. We're more intuitive. I feel like there's a lot of positives to that. And also, with the whole like becoming obsessed thing, you have to learn how to channel it into something productive. Like learn to like figure out what brings you joy, what brings you good energy. Like I like to paint, so it's like I have to figure out what type of things do I like to paint so I can keep bringing that energy into me and become more obsessed with that. You know what I'm saying? Don't make your obsession something that will go, or just one thing, like one person. Like explore. Like life is about exploring. You know what I'm saying? We have this big world. Explore the different things that make you feel amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's not in one thing. It's not in one person. It's not. Like I promise you, it's not. There is like 8 billion, 7 billion people in this world for a reason, and I know that energy isn't replaceable. I know that someone isn't replaceable, and that's not what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is learn to chase the feeling of something and then to manifest it materially, so that like once you get it, it's not the end all be all, because money does not equate happiness. And that's what I mean by that. When people say I want money, it's really they're chasing that feeling of comfortability, the feeling of freedom. So find the things that make you feel free. If having money does that for you, then that's cool. Make money, but make it about the feeling. Don't make it about the material thing, because then you get obsessed and then it could take over you. So yeah, that's all I want to say about Scorpio moons for right now. I just want to say that it's okay to feel. Be self-aware. Listen to yourself. Listen to how you feel, and listen to what you need. Like, and talk it out, write it out, sing it out. I feel like there are a lot of artists that are Scorpio moons, and they talk about some deep stuff. It's because that's how we are. We're deep people, like I remember I used to talk about guys to my friends, and they would be like, you're so poetic when you talk. And I'm like, that's how I feel. Like, I remember thinking like, it feels like a flame, like we're like two, like we ignite together, because that's literally how it feels. It's intense. So yeah, it's okay to be you. Love yourself. I know it's a hard placement, but it's okay. It's beautiful.